The Smite Update is proudly sponsored by Smitetube.com, a new up-and-coming Smite community website dedicated to weekly Smite tournaments, articles, and excellent Smite content videos. Show your support and check out Smitetube.com. Also, please check out the Smite Update's second sponsor, Tweaked Audio. Go to tweakedaudio.com for high-performance, noise-reducing earbuds. Use the code OctanePro to get 33% off plus free shipping anywhere in the world. Check out tweakedaudio.com today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the Smite Update. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 22 of the Smite Update. My name is Octane Pro, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Wristy. Wristy, how's it going?
It's not bad, it's not bad.
Excellent. Well, we've had a crazy week for Smite. Huge progressions for the esports scene for us. It's crazy to actually see where we have come and where we've actually gone at this point. Wristy and I just going ahead and finishing up watching Game 2 of PAX, seeing Dignitas win it. Pretty impressive game there, but it's just nuts. Well, without further ado, though, let's go ahead and put it over to Wristy. Wristy, what have you been up to recently in Smite? Any videos, casting, anything like that?
Well, me and you actually did, obviously, the EU tournaments yesterday, which was fun. Yeah, we did that. I've also put out I started a new show called the Smite Competitive. That's just focused, pretty much, it's like the Smite Update, but for the competitive scene.
Sure.
So I'm working on that. There is no way I'm getting PAX out this week. There is so much footage to go through. I'll do like a belated one and put that out next week. So I'll see how that one goes and probably do what we do on this week's episode. But other than that, yeah, there's that show you can guys go and check out as well. But yeah, no, that's about it at the minute.
Excellent. Well, yeah, if you guys did not understand there what was going on, Wristy and myself had the opportunity to fill in for Drybear and DM Brandon for the Hi-Rez EU Weekly. So we had the opportunity to fill in for them while they're actually at PAX in Seattle. You actually just caught them live on the stream there on the Twitch channel, casting the tournament. Well, we were actually filling in for the EU tournament, which was really cool. I'd actually never had an opportunity to cast strictly for Hi-Rez, let alone for their EU tournament. And I will have to say, the EU competitive play is much more exciting than the NA. I didn't want to say it on stream, but the EU is so much more exciting, I feel like. It was a pleasure to actually have an opportunity to cast that. Wristy, what did you think of it being your first time casting the Hi-Rez tournament?
Yeah, interesting. We did see a lot of people going, "Where's Drybear though? We want Drybear."
You guys and your man crushes, what's wrong with you?
I know, but there was a lot of people there. It wasn't too bad. It was all kind of like happy. They were happy that somebody was casting it at least.
Exactly. And that was our whole purpose. We were filling it as a substitute, so it worked out well and was a ton of fun. But let's not go ahead and delay the show too much. There's a lot to go over, not only with the patch, but we're also bringing you the results from GamesCom, bringing you the PAX results as well, recent tournaments, along with a few community things we'd like to touch on. So I'm going to go ahead and post it over to Wristy to go over the latest patch that came out on August 27th.
Well, new god, we have the second fat man in Smite, John Quee. I love it. It's like, well, we've got the big drunk man, and now we've got the big evil dude.
Yep.
John Quee, the demon queller. Okay, so John Quee's passive is the demon bag, and basically every time he uses exorcism, he collects demons in a bag, which stacks up to 20 times. For each demon that's in the bag, it gives him additional protections. I think it's about 2 protections each time. I haven't got the exact stat here by hand. Yeah. And when you use Recall Demon, when Recall Demons is activated, he gains double his protections after that, so you get your extra +2, then double everything on top. So it gets quite tough while the ultimate is going, and but he also will lose his stacks after the ultimate, after using Recall Demons. Okay?
Sure.
So it's a nice little passive. It just pretty much makes him tanky, pretty much. I actually think it's quite funny because he does really well in like all lanes.
Oh my gosh,
really
I know
well
he's so versatile across the board. It is something that I found very interesting. Like you could see John Kui as a middle laner, or you could see him in left or right lane solo or with a dual setup. Not necessarily a jungler, but yeah, he's been pretty cool to talk about, and we'll get more into it as you go through this.
Yeah. First ability, expose evil. Well, he throws out this ability at the just in a straight line in front of him and attaches a card to people. So John Kui pastes a card on all enemies in front of him, marking them as demons, slowing them and dealing damage each second while they're marked. If the card is removed, 50% of the remaining damage is done instantly. It's basically a dot damage. It goes from 20 to 50 a second, well, per tick. And it also slows for 20% as well, and the duration is 6 seconds. So it's kind of one that you're going to level last because the slow is standard all the way through from level 1 to level 2. So you're just going to put 1 point in it, get the slow, get the dot and the card, and that's it. You're not going to really bother with that. But it's a nice thing to give him a bit of a slow, seeing as he doesn't have an escape, which I kind of like to see.
Correct. I'm happy that we're not seeing another god with another escape. Like, as we talked about in the previous show, actually, when we did the roundtable, which actually was our last show last week, which didn't necessarily focus on the patches, but we talked about how a lot of the gods that were coming out for a period of time, everybody had an escape. If it wasn't a dive, it was a leap or some type of ability that allowed them to get out of battle and disengage. And I'm happy to see a god being added into the game with no disengage or leap, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah. We'll move on to his next ability, Exorcism. This is kind of John Kui drives out demons of his demons, if his enemies, sorry, dealing damage to them as they leave. Demons marked with exposed evil, which is his 1, are captured by John Kui, healing him per demon up to 3, of course, and the card's removed. It does a load of damage and also heals you just for the fact that you got someone with the card. So if you throw out expose evil, then use exorcism, you're healing up. And to be honest, in lane, that's your main nuke.
Yep.
It's going to clear that. So you've got some really good lane sustain, especially that mana wise as well. You're only using 2 abilities, and it just keeps rocking with it, pretty much. Keep going there. So that was a nice one. Now, Book of Demons. When Book of Demons is fired, it deals damage and stuns nearby enemies. Now, an enemy that's but the stun duration is like 0.5 to 0.9. But if they're marked by the card Expose Evil, it doubles that time. So it gets you up for like 1 second and 1.8. So it kind of adds a nice little effect in there as well. Does it add any extra more damage? Book of Demon flies nearby. Ah, that was it. The Book of Demon as well, while it's off cooldown, floats next to you and does 50% of your basic attack damage as well. So you just see 2 shots coming out, which is nice when you've just done all your abilities. They've got like the little bit of health and you're like, oh, just 1 or 2 more attacks to go. It just gives you that little extra kind of poke to move up. It's nothing exceptional, but it helps out nonetheless.
Yeah.
So that works out lovely. Recall Demons, the ultimate. Now, this one I kind of like. Because he doesn't have a leap or a gap closer, it actually kind of hinders him sometimes as well. But what it is, when John Kui activates his abilities, demons pulse out of his bag to nearby players every second for 5 seconds. They'll chase and accelerate over the time. So they'll come out, they'll go a little bit slower, and then they go zap straight to them.
Yeah.
The best bit about it is if there's enemies inside the indicator range, it'll go straight to the enemy. And if there's an ally there, they'll put 2 spirits out of the bag, or 2 demons out of the bag, and one will go heal the ally, and one will go heal, one will go damage the enemy. So you don't want to you don't sit there and think, oh, if there's an ally in there, I'm going to lose damage. So it's all good. If you can keep as many people in, it's great. One kind of thing I've noticed about with it, just because, like I say, you ain't got the gap closed, I feel you kind of need a combat blink or a sprint. Because as soon as you do that, once they jump, it's wasted because you can't keep up with them.
Correct. Yep, that is true.
So yeah, what do you think?
John Kui. I think John Kui is. I like him as a character. I like the way that they implemented him into the game. The timing of entering him into the game was matched with entering the same time of the Tencent partnership that we saw with GamesCom. So I understand why he was added into the game. I do like him, but I feel, in all honesty, I feel like we're going to see some adjustments made to him this upcoming week. And what I mean by that is he's a great character to play. He does a lot of damage, but his sustain is too much. And what I mean by that is for the amount of damage that he's doing, his sustainability, I feel like, is too high. I don't know if we're going to see an adjustment to his damage dealing or necessarily directly towards his protections with the healing and such, or what. Really eager to see what Hi-Rez does, but I feel like there needs to be an adjustment there. Have you had an opportunity to play with him and or against him that you kind of have any afterthoughts? Do you disagree or agree? Or
do you know the funny thing is, I never actually got to play against him.
Okay.
The amount of games that I played, I was like, well, where is he? But when I was in lane, I was wrecking it. It was absolute. Fair enough. When I got ganked, I just couldn't go nowhere, and it was sometimes a bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
But I could push the crap out of a lane and not lose any health.
Yeah.
Even just kind of like I had an Anubis mid. Couldn't do anything with it. Even a Loki as well, I could mess around enough that when I did my heal on the creeps, I could hit the side of the lanes that he was on, trying to drop his decoy. So it just had so much push out of it. And the fact that your main clear ability in lane is your heal as well.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like Maxion in chat says. They tried to make him a mage tank by making him some kind of weird hybrid. It's a good theory, but it needs to be tweaked. And I agree. It's one of Hi-Rez's better implementations of a god into their game.
Bruiser, I like the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good. They did good implementing him. He's not astronomically like strong, and he's not super weak. Correct. Yeah, a little too much sustain.
I don't think his damage is up there. Like when you use Recall Demons, it's like,
yeah.
To be honest, I look at that and go, "There's not really a lot of damage out." But then again, I never really got into late game with him, so I didn't really see it scale well. But it only scales with 20% of your magical power, so that's pretty crap as it is.
Sure.
You do notice we're in play style that you don't want to use exorcism against players.
Sure.
You want to go straight into the Book of Demons because it does so much damage. Because obviously later on, exorcism scales 20% of your magical power, but Book of Demons does 70%. And you do notice a difference quite a bit when you switch up which skill to use. But yeah, the fact that he doesn't have an escape and the damage is relatively low, I kind of feel he's in a bit more of a supporty kind of role than anything else. I don't believe he'll be. He's basically Odin again for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Kind of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, moving on from there, we did have Guan Yu get some significant changes, astronomical changes, to be honest with you. And we didn't see the new Guan Yu actually being played at PAX. They actually brought along the older patch server, which was the same server that they used at GamesCom, which makes sense. They didn't want to go ahead and have people using Guan Yu where he hasn't been tweaked, he hasn't been balanced. Nobody has really used him specifically. So what you saw at PAX was actually the older, we'll call it, Guan Yu. With that said, with the newer Guan Yu, though, something to keep in mind was with Guan Yu, we saw his pretty entire model get completely redone, along with his entire kit. So his now new kit, Guan Yu gains force of will as he takes damage. Each instance of damage he receives charges up his conviction ability, increasing its healing by up to 2 after 20 hits. So his healing is increased as he takes damage, which is pretty deadly. Guan Yu's basic attack also utilizes a 4-swing chain with escalating damage and swing time, hitting in a longer, narrow line in front of him on the final blow. So that's his passive. Quite a change up there. So we're seeing that as he takes damage now, as he's able to go ahead and dive into battle more, he then is able to return that with a heal.
I think that is because of the fact he gets physical protections as well on the, well, I think that's on the hill, so I'll go back to that. But I think they've done that for the hill because he's not going to get any magical power to increase it. So I think that's possibly what they've tried to do to kind of balance it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Other than that, no,
yeah. So moving on from there, his first ability, and a lot of his kit guys has pretty much stayed the same. The animations have been changed a little bit, but Guan Yu's leadership is infectious, and when forced, heals himself and his allies and increases physical protection. So conviction, it's kind of interesting. It pretty much focuses directly off of his passive, giving him a strong heal of himself and allies around them. Furthermore, on top of that, it actually gives them a protection buff for 3 seconds, which is kind of cool. On top of that, Warrior's Will, Guan Yu charges forward. his green dragon blade extending in front of him. All enemies in his path take damage. So this is like Guan Yu's charge. Now keep in mind, guys, the old Guan Yu was magical. The new Guan Yu is now physical. So completely changed up the power, focus there. He's now straight physical. So he still has his charge. Moving on from there, that was Warrior's Will. We have his Assault, which he spins his blade. So that was the thing before that made that ching, ching, ching noise. Now it's kind of fallen off with that sound. He spins his blade in a controlled but furious display, slicing enemies for damage every 0.3 seconds for 3 seconds. Each hit debuffs the enemy's protection while buffing Guan Yu the same amount. Guan Yu is immune to knockback for this duration. So, believe it or not, he's immune to CC, or I won't say CC, but is immune to knockbacks when he is going ahead and performing his assault, which is kind of cool. Finally, which is probably the biggest talk of the town for Guan Yu, is his cavalry charge. Guan Yu mounts his warhorse and charges for 4 seconds. While mounted, he can steer and click to attack and is immune to crowd control. Enemies hit takes damage and are slowed. Each hit increases damage from his hits against the target by 20%. Enemy hits on the dismount are stunned. So pretty much we now see the first character that actually has a land mount, per se, for their ultimate. I mean, we will say there are some air ones, like Apollo has this chariot that comes in. That's all just a graphic effect, and same thing with Thor, with leaping up in the air. But, yeah, I'm going to throw this over to Wristy first to get his feedback and thoughts on the Guan Yu's ultimate.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's funny. I was saying during the tournament as well. It's kind of like Loki's stealth. You hear it coming. You hear that tools kind of neigh up, and you're like, "Ooh, here it comes!" And you kind of try and dodge at least. Yeah. Because obviously, with that 20% scaling per hit, that's quite a considerable amount actually. And yeah, I like the fact that the stun's still there, because it's if they'd taken the stun out, it wouldn't have been so good. But I do kind of miss tactical assault, tactical advantage. Sorry, his old ultimate. It was when you used it, you knew where it was going, what it was hitting. Fair enough. This does fit the lore a bit more. And as someone put up on Reddit somewhere, it was like was it Dynasty 5? Went like that gameplay with it actually, and I looked at it and went, "That's the new Guan Yu."
Yeah,
that's it. Perfect.
Right? Yep.
But yeah, no, it was good to see, and I love the fact that they fixed the Taolu assault. It now does a swishing noise rather than a bada. Yeah. Oh God, thank God for that. Anything else other than that? No,
I think Guan Yu's awesome now. Reason I say it is because, okay, we saw Guan Yu's not only has his damage change from magical to physical, we're now seeing Guan Yu go from a hybrid tank where he could be built either for straight damage or he could be built for being straight tanky, or a nice kind of mix between the two. And now we're seeing him pretty much, Guan Yu is now built as a jungler. Which is interesting because I would have never thought Hi-Rez would have re-implemented him as a jungler, and that's what he is. The funny thing is, too, you see him getting Witch's Stone compared to actually getting boots, at least in the competitive play that we have seen over the last several days, because the Witch's Stone does give him that speed boost. But he's very, very strong as a jungler because of the fact that he can dish out the damage, and he can heal himself, so he has the sustainability of a jungler as well. So he's pretty cool. I think we'll see adjustments, though, on both Chinese gods this week. Reason being is, like, I played the new Guan Yu the other day for the first time, and I just wrecked house. And I was like, really? I was like, this is so easy. Like, he could dive in on anyone, and he does a massive amount of burst damage. So, what are your last thoughts on the new Guan Yu there, Wristy?
I kind of felt like jungling-wise for Guan Yu, he had no lockdown. He had nothing. The only thing he could do was chase.
Correct, yes.
So we saw it in the tournaments where, like, they couldn't do anything with him. Everybody that picked up Jungle Guan Yu was like, "We've got Jungle Guan Yu."
Yeah.
But we're not doing nothing with it. It kind of felt that he's kind of lacking. He's not like Thor. He doesn't have the tectonic rift stun. He doesn't have. He can get in there, but you hear him coming a long way off half the time, unless he comes in and waits till you're actually running away to ultimate. And as someone said in chat, the horse moves at maximum speed straight away, and it's difficult to turn on a dime. It struggles a bit. So that's why I kind of liked.
It is a little more difficult, but I feel like that almost keeps it balanced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably.
Which is kind of a nice thing, because if it was like super easy to turn and you know the control was amazing, it might even make it too strong of an ultimate.
Yeah, yeah. But it's one of them ones where before we used to pretty much always get the free hits on unless they kind of leaped out of the way. Now it's you struggle sometimes. That's kind of bit. But we also do see the fact that it's a circle, so it does damage all the way around.
The radius damage, which is quite effective there. All right, well, let's go ahead and move from Guan Yu and move into some additional adjustments made this patch.
So other significant visual updates have to gods. The ground targeters have been changed on quite a few gods now. After we saw like the new edition when Tyr come in with all the little like graphical animations on the targeters as well.
Yep.
We've seen them come on into Agni, Anubis, Aphrodite, Apollo, Ares, Bacchus, Chang'e, Cupid, Fenrir, the new Guan Yu obviously, Naja, Neith, Odin, Poseidon, Thor, Xbalanque, Ymir, and Zeus.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot.
It's so cool though. The animations are awesome. I was actually streaming last night on Smite Game and playing as Anubis, and the new animations are great. I think I even played Neath the one game, and like it's so cool to see, and it's so user friendly as well. So I actually am a huge fan of the new visual adjustments. I'm actually happy that the art department has made this change for Hi-Rez.
Yay, Octane happy with art department.
That's right, gold star. Ching. The art department at Hi-Rez is like they're gonna listen to this VOD and they're gonna be like, finally, we finally made everyone happy.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny as well when you use them for the first time again. Yes. You go, oh, they've changed it. That's kind of cool. Oh crap, I need to use the ability. But yeah,
exactly. That's what I ran into. I'm staring at the ability compared to actually clicking again to cast it.
Yeah. They also upgraded the 3D model of Cupid, some effects and animations. They do say the little demon skin won't be updated to a further patch, so just kind of stay tuned for that. Honor had upgrades to his 3D model and effects, and Sobek loading screen art was updated as well.
Well, let's actually go ahead and talk about the loading screen art right there. They completely changed it up when you go ahead and load into a game. The cards are a little bit smaller. They do have a border around them with a gem below them to signify when the team person has gone ahead and loaded in. It's either blue or red. I guess I'll throw it over to you, Wristy. What are your thoughts on this new loading screen overlay and look?
Well, I can't say I hate it, but I can't say I love it. I just feel like I'm like, I'm not fussed now, to be honest. I was looking at it going, so they've changed it again. Yep. Why? That's pretty much it. Yeah. I think they've just made like the tiles a bit more smaller and manageable, but it's just like you're just changing it so often now. I'm like, oh, it'll be changed again in a week. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I want to see them do more with the load screen. Like, it's a free advertising opportunity. And as I talked about on the roundtable last week, guys, if you guys join us for the roundtable discussion with the Hi-Rez employees we had on the show, along with a few competitive players and organization coordinators and other members, we talked about education and educating new players about different abilities and stuff like that and different things. And I just feel like there's so much they can do with the loading screen. And to maximize not only education but advertising for Smite as well, I think is a key place too. So I think they could do a lot with it. I would rather see that up there. I mean, the cards are nice, you know, they're not too bad, but I think there's a lot they could do with the loading screen. That is the one thing I'd like to see them start to work on a little bit more as time goes on here, and giving them an opportunity to have their art department work on that.
Yeah, give them something else to actually work
on. That's right.
So, yeah, other than that, we got the new gold skins in Kali, Fenrir, and Freya. Obviously, we do have John Quiz, King of Ghosts, as well as his recolor skin. Not too much. It's just a bit blacker, I think. It actually does have like some funny decals on his coat, but other than that, it's kind of the same. It's a standard recolor skin.
Yes.
And voice packs as well. We got Zeus, Guan Yu, and John Kui.
Yeah, I will say, I think the most annoying voice pack I've heard so far is actually Athena. Her one voice pack, which is like this high pitch, sounds like a teenage girl almost, is insanely annoying. I don't know if anyone else has heard it, but it does drive me nuts.
I don't mind the Athena one, but some of the Neath emotes drive me nutty.
Yeah.
Fair enough. There's the regular ones like there's ganks coming, there's incoming this, but then the other like jokes or taunts, and I'm sitting there going, no, just no, just go away.
I do like Tyr's voice pack. His like Scottish voice pack. I kind of feel badass about it. Who is your favorite voice pack? Chat room, go ahead and post who you guys like the most. What voice pack kind of stands out to you guys?
I want to see an Odin voice pack.
Odin, that would be interesting. Yeah, I could definitely. I would like to see that as well. I think Odin would be pretty cool.
It's probably about the only one that I'd actually like. Oh, yeah, this is good.
That would be nice. Show some of the original characters some love. Moving forward, let's go ahead and jump into the general section of this past week's patch. The arena map has undergone some visual changes. Further changes are planned for the future. So, arena got a huge overhaul visually. I'll pass it to you, Wristy. What are your initial thoughts of it? Have you had an opportunity to play it?
I didn't see it.
Oh, well, I have seen it.
Do you know what? I didn't even see that part in the patch notes. Otherwise, I'd have gone in and had a look.
It looks so nice. It's really cool. I definitely like the way they went with this. They kept the layout and structure the same, which is understandable. It fits very well. But the graphical changes on it are really cool. So I'm really happy with the changes that they made to Arena. Wristy, go check it out. What's wrong with you?
I'm doing it now. I'm loading up.
The end of the match lobby has undergone some changes. Further changes are planned for the future. So let's go ahead and tap into that a little bit. Wristy and I had an opportunity this past week on yesterday, to cast the Hi-Rez EU tournament. So I'll pass it over to Wristy and get your first initial thoughts on some of the changes that we did see at the match lobby.
It's the end screen, isn't it? Yeah. So
Correct.
To be honest, there wasn't much difference apart from the way it went sideways. Now they have put up a little bit at the side of obviously the side of it to show that there is stuff this way.
Yes.
But they haven't fixed the arrows.
Yeah.
Because the amount of times I did left and it kept going the
right. If you go the one direction, it just keeps reloading the same thing compared to spinning around the entire cycle.
You have to go right and then back left to get it to do what you actually want it to. So it's just like
correct. Okay, this is the one thing in the game that I feel that needs to be changed before they go ahead and launch the game. I think that the match lobby end of the game screen needs to be more user friendly. I think it needs to be pretty much restructured to be super basic and give you the basic information, but then go ahead and give you almost a button or a link that you can click that, I don't say link, but button that you can click for like additional stats, and then gives you like a wall of statistics. Because I feel like to a casual player or new player, they're looking for the basic information. You know, your kills, your deaths, your assists, your gold, your player damage, your minion damage, objective damage, the build, and I think that's really it. Outside of that, there should be an additional, like a button that gives you additional stats, and I want to see stats galore, but I want to see them broken down to be a little more user-friendly compared to the way they throw them at you now. It's just like a bunch of stuff on the screen. You hit the arrow, there's a bunch of more stuff. I just don't like it, the way it's structured. What are your thoughts on that?
I'd love to see Gold Fury stats. How many people killed the Gold Fury?
Oh, that would be good.
Stuff. Oh, how many times the Gold Fury went down?
How many times for the team? Yeah, that's a good point. That would be cool. Yeah. There's a lot they could do with it. How many Fire Giant attempts there were, Gold Fury attempts there were, how many players were hit by the tower. You know what I mean? Stuff like that would be cool.
They've got all the XP per minute, gold per minute stats as well. They could do another page up with that.
Yeah.
Just keep hitting pages, keep giving pages, loads of pages, and keep going. I'm in the arena map now. I feel like I'm in Gladiator. I'm Russell Crowe. Yeah. It's quite nice. When you're in the base though, when you look up, the view does look a bit disorientating a bit.
Sure,
but I like the door where everyone's going into the portal.
Yeah.
I feel they need to fix it though, because I'm looking at it, and if you just go straight up to the portal, you can see behind it, and it looks shit. Yeah. You see the black, but then the black fades off if you turn the camera. Yeah, and it's like a brown wall, so they need to fix that.
If you look in chat, somebody had a good recommendation there about the graphs being relocated to the post lobby screen. That would be nice to see as well, and even to have some more graphs available to them too would be. So that's a really good idea to have that.
Well, if they added like kills to the graph, like deaths or something like that for so many teams, you could like little dots here and there.
Sure.
That would be good, and you see the tip, like if a load of people got killed, or you see when the kills actually happened. That would be really good, as well as the fact that I'm doing the competitive scene like a Google document with it, and I'm obviously adding in at the end the match, the match stuff. If I could add that in as well, you could then basically see how the match went by where the kills were.
Sure. So, oh no, definitely. I mean, I think that would be kind of nice. Yeah, no, that would be a good point. As well as seeing, as you talked about, the map and where on the map, right? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Where on the map there were well, that'd be nice to see where on the map the deaths occurred. Map.
Just where it is. If it was where on the map, it'd be like too difficult. It'd be like a cluster of.
Well, that would be nice, but that's the whole point. Then it would be a cluster of where the deaths occurred. So you could go ahead and, as a team, diagnose that and analyze as to, where are you strongest? Are you strongest in the lane or in the jungle? Kind of know where to work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be kind of a cool idea to see. It would just be a picture of the map with just like different death icons on there of the different players and stuff. But there's a lot they can do. But I feel like the out of screen post lobby could get a huge overhaul. From there, we saw there's a fixed bug that did occur with the top 200 ranked players, which was incorrect. So that's kind of nice to know that they're fixing that. The loading screen underwent some changes that we discussed. The Fire Giant Lava and Conquest was increased. They didn't say how large, but they did say that it was increased. Have you seen anything or heard anything as to the distance of how much that was actually changed?
Well, you could actually stand outside of range as a ranged character and hit it and not worry about the lava pool. So I think they fixed that so that everybody gets hit now.
Okay. Well, that's nice. That's nice to know that it pretty much goes to the one god with their max range and adjusted it to that size. So that's nice to see. Visual changes have been made to the Fog of War treatment in the jungle, Conquest, and Joust. I know they've been changing that several times over the past few patches, so it's nice to see that they're continuing to make tweaks to that. I'm kind of happy where it's at right now. What about you?
Fog of War? Yeah, I like it, to be honest. Yeah, it's fine the way it actually is. It doesn't feel like it's silly, but it's just enough. It's kind of weird when you're just walking along and then all of a sudden, bang, there's someone in front of you. It's like, ooh.
Correct. That's not even like a Fog of War anymore. That's just like an invisible wall, and all of a sudden it's available to you. So I could see how they're slowly starting to critique that to change the transparency of the Fog of War depending on the depth of when you're entering into the jungle or not.
Yeah, they don't want to do that though, because then it takes it back to the original fog that we used to have.
Oh, I know, right? Where like you could look at the jungle, you could look at the jungle. Remember, you could look at the jungle and not see anything. Like you had to be in the jungle to actually see something, and so the jungle became so dangerous. And that was the same time that they implemented Bumble's Mask. So that's what completely. It wasn't. People are always saying, "Oh, Bumble's Mask is what made jungling actually possible." Well, also the map layout for Conquest, and also the fact of the Fog of War was huge, because if you remember, as I said, you looked in the jungle and saw nothing. Like, you couldn't see lane to lane. You couldn't see in the jungle. It was just ridiculous. So they're continuing to make changes to the Fog of War, which is nice. A variety of
jungling way before Bumba's Mask come in, like months before Bumba's Mask. But it was a natural jungle. And, well, when we had the side jungle, that was pretty much it. When that was there, Arachne...
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Absolutely pub stomp. Still pub stomp now, but they needed Bumba's Mask to kind of help it out a little bit. But before then,
a few additional changes that we did see occur. Some visual optimization changes on Conquest. Fixed an issue in which active items that are upgraded, moving the slot positions. Fixed an issue in Joust where you couldn't do a 4 versus 4 or 5 versus 5. So now you can actually do that in Joust. Furthermore, they added... I know, can you imagine 5 versus 5 on a UI map? That would be so overcrowded. 3 versus 3 is overcrowded, I feel like. A 5 versus 5 would be nuts, but we should try that sometime. That would actually
be funny.
That would actually be a ton of fun. An option has been added in the UI under the settings menu to whether or not a nameplate and health bar appears above your own character head. I actually didn't know this existed until yesterday during the tournament. Somebody had mentioned it in chat about adding that into there. You could actually check off that box. So as the person's cruising around, you could see their health instantly along with their mana. And so that's kind of cool that you can actually see that. That's actually a cool feature. Wristy's probably looking for that feature right now, aren't you?
No, I'm not in no.
On top of that, we did see some changes made to the pinging option, which is that VGS system. So kind of cool to see that. They improved the flood protection. Oh, so you couldn't ping like crazy. So they changed that up as well.
They've changed it so you can turn it off. And I'll tell you what, I found it and I turned it off. That was it. As soon as I was flicking through the settings, because every time they would patch it, I had to bring the sound back down, sort all that out.
Yeah.
And then I was flicking through and I found it and I went, oh, hell God, yes, turn that off. That was it, done. Don't have to worry anymore.
Yes, I second that. So we did see that. Let's see. There were additional ping commands added in as well. They switched the position of the healing and mana potions again to keep you on your toes. They're saying this should be the last time they swap it, but there's no guarantee. And finally, we have a new god rotation of Aphrodite, Artemis, Athena, Bacchus, and Kronos.
Yeah, they said with the health and mana pots, it was a minor oversight every time they patched it, but it should always be health pot first, mana pot second. So
yes,
they're just fixing that now.
Which is, I mean, that's the way that I put them in the I guess I'm gonna call it the toolbar, I guess. So if I do it that way, then that's the way Smite should do it. You know, I mean, come on now.
Yeah,
they should follow my guidelines.
I want my item this way.
That's right. They took it. On top of that, guys, last thing here, spectator mode, a few different changes. The sorted column is now highlighted, which was something that Wristy struggled with the first time we actually dealt with the new spectator mode, where you never knew what view you were looking at. Was it F1, F2, F3, and F4 is kind of your random view. So now they kind of highlight which column you're actually looking at. If you want to go ahead and put on that, I should say random, it cycles through.
Yeah, I had frustrated with it because
I know, it was ridiculous.
Spinning. It was like, stop, please stop. But hopefully they fixed that.
Item view is now auto-sorted by net worth. That's kind of cool to see. And other miscellaneous cleanups and improvements have been made to Spectator. I'm going to assume we're going to see a lot of adjustments made to Spectator because Wristy and I, casting yesterday the EU Hi-Rez tournament, found so many. Like, the death accolades were no longer coming up, so we couldn't even see that. And I can't tell you, I don't know about you, Wristy, but it was a struggle to see who was dying. You actually had to look at the picture at the bottom to see which person was grayed out with the timer on them. Did you run into
Well, I had to wait for the team fight to kind of disperse to look at the body, and I was like, so who died?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Who's in that pile? Let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, that looks like Thor. It could be Athena. I can't tell.
No, so it's like, oh, crap. And it was really difficult for people watching as well, because we was just like...
It was hard to call it out because it was delayed a little bit because we had to figure it out. So hopefully they get those accolades put back in there. Moving on, let's go ahead and jump into some of the new gods and items.
The new item that was added actually is the Bloodforge. Now, the Bloodforge is a 2,725 gold item that has 40 physical power, 20% lifesteal as standard, as base stats, and then each successful hit on an enemy god gives you 5 physical power and 2% lifesteal for 4 seconds. For the maximum of like 5 stacks. So it's kind of the same stacking principle as like a Fatalis, is pretty much how that one works. But it straight away, it's now the most lifesteal in the game. Most lifesteal, and well, look at that, you as well with like physical power. Get them 5 stacks up, you're up to 65 physical power.
Oh, Bloodforge is so awesome. Like, I love Bloodforge. I think Bloodforge is an excellent item. I'm actually really glad that they added it into the game.
Yeah, and as someone said, it's like Devourer's gloves without having the stacks. So straight away, you've got the full stacks. And I think we saw one person on the tournament get that first. Shivolanke got that first. He ripped apart in that first team fight. First team fight that happened before people had finished their boots as well. It was boom, gone.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, I will admit.
I kept calling it Bloodseeker.
I know. I was just going to make a comment on that. I'm like, you mean Bloodseeker? Because you called it that time and time again. And I was like, you know what, we'll just let it slide. It's called the Bloodseeker for that day. Just for Wristy.
I couldn't help it. It's that muscle memory. Bloodseeker, no.
No. Yeah, right?
I don't even know what Bloodseeker was. It's from some other game. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm probably... Yeah. So it's definitely taken over against Soul Eater.
Yep.
Well, Soul Eater sometimes has its place with the attack speed. That's pretty much why you got it. But Devourer's gloves are finished, and so is Eye of Retaliation. Until they change the Eye of Retaliation, because that's kind of weak in the middle. I'd rather that give a bit more physical power the further you got lower down. Be a bit better. But, well, let's just see how that goes. So, next item we got is Fatalis. The additional movement speed and attack speed on a successful basic hit has been increased from 3% to 5%, but the maximum stacks has been reduced down to 3.
Yep.
So from 4 to 3. So basically, they've just made it so it stacks up a bit quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they give it a little bit of a buff. No, well, it might be like a percent. I didn't quite do the math before we come on. But no, that's just another easy one there. Just keep it. It basically keeps most things up to 3 stacks. They like to keep. We got executioners 3 stacks. Just a lot of 3 stacking items. So there's another 3 stacking item that comes out.
Yeah.
Now, Goblet of Feathers. I have no idea. How do you pronounce
Gauntlet
that?
of Phoebes or Thibes. It's a Thebes or something like that. But
Phoebes.
yeah, these are.
Phoebes,
I
yeah.
love this item, and I'm actually really happy to see the change. I actually saw Ymir rocking this the other day.
Yeah, I like this. What they've done is they've changed the passive that gives you 5 health to 8 health per minion kill, but it reduced the stacks from 100 to 50. To be honest, I'd have liked them to keep it at. Have I got it around the other way? Maybe. Suppose where they've dropped it down to 8. Now, I'm sitting there going, right, so fair enough, it's easier to stack up, but you're now going to get less health from it anyway.
Yeah.
But then again, how many times did a tank get full stacks on that item?
Oh, I know.
100 stacks was surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stacks are still quite hard to get. I'd have still like to keep it, maybe give it like 10 health per kill, like keep it exactly the same it was, just make it easier to stack.
Yeah.
Other than that, you generally don't see it. Have you seen it? I think you said you saw it.
What, using it? Yeah, I saw Ymir rocking it this past weekend while actually doing some viewer games on Smite Game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could see it. I can see it. Next one. I feel kind of completely pointless. Transcendence. The passive's been changed from 10 mana per kill to 20 mana per kill, and the stacks are down from 50 to 25.
Sure.
I have never known a ranged AD complain about I can't get stacks for a Transcendence. Never. What, 50 stacks? Nothing.
Yes.
What
yeah, 50 stacks is nothing. I agree.
Especially seeing as they don't wipe. It's like, well, why? I'd have... Basically, the item's still the same. They've just changed how it works. Well, they've changed it for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Maybe to give it some like early game advantage, because you're getting it like a 3rd or 4th item if you're going to get it. So you probably want to get it stacked up a bit quicker. But other than that, it's still the same item. That's pretty much all it is. It's exactly the same item. Now, what also we saw was a winged wand. The mana has been removed from this item, and a cooldown reduction has been added. So 4, 7 to 10%.
I can understand this. I saw Wing Wand being used in all different manners, so I can understand. They're trying to get it to be a little bit more of a focused item.
Well, I saw it in a few tanks actually. It was
yes,
it was support,
exactly.
so it was quite funny.
Exactly.
Especially when they got with the change to the passive movement speed. It's now not 10% increased for 4 seconds.
Yep.
It's now 20%, and it'd been changed from 2 seconds to 4 seconds. So it's a nice boost. If you try and slow a tank get to you with like a whirlpool or grasping hands, he's gonna go, ha ha! You've let me catch up to you now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. But that's what I meant. Like, I'm starting to see it being used in a completely different manner than I think they initially intended for it.
Yeah, and yeah, it was also like a weird Jotun's Wrath, but only 10% cooldown. So it's nice to see. I quite like it. The Witchstone. Now, this was an interesting one that caught me out at the weekend. That's why I was saying that, why has you not got boots? And then people back to me, the Witchstone's been changed, and the fact that they've taken the physical power off from it. They've had.
Can you imagine if it was kept on it and people were getting it as Guan as well?
Yeah, I know.
It'd be so strong.
But they had to pull it off because of the way they stupidly lock items.
Yeah.
Now, the locking items is a whole different tangent, which I think is really annoying.
It's forcing players to purchase items within a spectrum that the game and Hi-Rez chooses, compared to selecting and playing with builds, regardless if they're positive or negative, being able to pick anything. So I completely agree. It needs to be back to the way it was.
Yeah, especially if you want to build a troll build. Come on, if you get a 5v5 and you build troll builds, that would be so funny.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, they've had to remove it because not everybody would be able to use it. But you see now that with the movement speed that's been added, the 5, 10, 15%, you actually go faster with Heartseeker in this and boots just think, is the movement speed still on Fatalis is at 10%? I think it's still there.
Yeah.
So if you got like a Fatalis in this, you don't need boots, and you get more than boots. Boots is 18%. This is 15. So you're actually getting going faster than everyone else without actually having to buy the boot. So it's a nice little change. It shakes it up. It also means then that boots isn't a must anymore.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. I mean, I like some of the changes they're making to the items. I feel like Hi-Rez is slowly starting to get back to where they said they were going to go in the direction of starting to make more balanced changes to items and gods. Hopefully, we're over the hurdle of Hi-Rez making all these feature adjustments, even though it sounds like we're not with a 10 versus 10 coming around the corner. But that's not a huge deal because it's just re-implementing a larger party size on an already set map arena. Yeah, hopefully this is the start of more changes to see in the future with them focusing on gods and item balance compared to somebody in chat, Hi-Rez balance. So yeah, but let's go ahead and jump into some of the god changes that we're seeing in this patch. Artemis. Artemis's boar is now immune until it stuns its first target. This is completely understandable. The boar was completely underrated when it pretty much was just launched. The fact that it could be it could run into problems like damage or anything like that prior to hitting its first target really sucks. So this is good for Artemis. Long time coming. Chunga Crescent Moon Dance. The cooldown of this ability has been increased from 4 to 5. Thank God, but 5 is not enough.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's nowhere near enough. 1 second, what? It needs to be up to like an 8-second cooldown, I think, at least, ran that way.
Yeah.
Because it just pumps out too much, too often.
Yeah, if I was to pick one guy which I felt was too strong in this game right now, it would be Chunga. She is excellent for a utility god, but if she's a utility god, why does she do so much damage? Like, her heals are excellent. Her CC is excellent with her ultimate, but she does way too much damage. So I'd like to see that adjusted. If that's one thing I could input Hi-Rez, mark that on your calendars, get that fixed. Thank you. Moving forward, Moonlit Waltz. The amount of time that this ability fires and she evades has been reduced. So when she does go ahead and cast it, goes from 1.5 down to 1. So first off, this kind of allows her to pop this more quickly, which is understandable. I mean, you got an Anubis Mummify coming at you. You want to have that activated as soon as possible. So I can see this. Any resistance?
She's annoying enough to kill as is.
Yes,
they really need to give her more survivability.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
I don't mind.
It's like a Neef backflip where they kind of went, oh yeah, we made it so it's got a bit of a delay on it, but there's no difference.
No. I don't know. I think Neef's backflip should be instant. Same thing with this here. I mean, it should be instant the way it's played.
Yeah, 1.5 is quite severe, I suppose. But to be honest, I've the Moonlit Dance, Moonlit Waltz, sorry. It's always, if someone plays it correctly, they will outplay you, no problem. Like, I played against the Chunga that preemptively Moonlit Waltz pretty much all the time, and until you understood what he was doing, you couldn't lock him down. Yeah, could not touch him. He literally, every time you went to do your combo to then go into your stun, he knew when the stun was coming. So he'd then Moonlit Dance. So basically what I'd end up having to do was wait for him to blow it preemptively and then go in with the stuns. But it's a bad enough skill at the minute anyway. I don't feel... I can see what they've done, that it comes out, but I don't think it was needed at all.
Yeah. Moving forward from there, we have 2 last god adjustments from this patch. First off, Kronos, the Rewind, which is his ultimate, guys, his 4th ability. You can no longer cancel this ability during its buildup. I completely think this is... makes sense.
Well, it was never intended.
No, not at all. Not at all. So I can see that. Second, Tier, which Tier was previously introduced prior to this patch. So now we're starting to see some adjustments on Tier. For his Fearless, the ability will no longer knock someone up that is immune to crowd control. So a little interesting there. The next thing I want to kind of hit on here is Fearless. Under guard stance, this ability will now knock back half the distance. I do not like this. Reason being is I went ahead and played as Tier after this was put into effect, and you go ahead and pop Fearless, and you expect the teammate to pop into the air because it's part of a CC. not only is it a knockback, but it's a CC. I mean, it pops them up in the air, gives you an opportunity to cast additional abilities, not only from Tyr, but other gods. And the knockback you could barely notice. Did you see that at all or no?
Well, it was still kind of there. I think they've brought it down to Sobek level again. Because Sobek had his tail whip. Yeah. So they brought that down to there. I think I kind of had a little go. And I didn't think too much of it. It was kind of that alright. But the funny thing is, this whole like section with Tyr, it's a nerf that isn't a nerf. Okay? So the fact that you can't be knocked up with Fearless when it's if you're immune to crowd control. The worst bit about that is being pushed along, not the fact you're going to get knocked up at the end.
Yeah.
So it's like completely pointless.
Yeah, and that's the same thing that happened with Power Cleave too. Another additional change here. The ability will now knock back half the distance. So it's like meh. I don't know. I don't like it. Maybe they should have cut it to like a quarter of it. You know, so he went from a full distance down to now it's only been cut a little bit down. Like a quarter of that distance was cut down. So he still has 3/4 of that. I don't know.
To be honest, I'd have liked them to left the skills alone and just changed how the cooldown reset went.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
The cooldown. If they actually removed the cooldown reset on the change stance, I feel Tyr would be balanced.
Yeah, that's
perfectly.
True. That's true. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if more comes out of Tyr. Guys, that is the end of our patch notes. If you guys are new to the show, the Smite Update is a weekly show that airs Monday night at 8:30. We actually just got the show in, starting the show seconds after Dignitas ended up winning over Denial. Spoiler alert. Oh, wait, I was supposed to say that ahead of time.
Yeah, you're supposed to say that first.
Sorry about that. You know? I'm kidding. Anyways, so we go ahead and go over the patch notes from the previous week. We give ourselves like a week to play the patch. Hi-Rez Bart goes ahead and gives you guys the patch notes the day before it comes out. But nobody right now is going over the patch notes a week later, talking about some of the changes done and actually how they affect the game from a post perspective. So that's what we're doing. We went through the patch notes. We now have a few last sections of the show. We go over an esports update. We have This Week in Smite, weekly community Smite content. We have a website of the week and streamer of the week. Then we'll go ahead and take some questions from the chat, and we'll go ahead and give away our tweaked audio set of earbuds. So let's go ahead and jump into the next portion of our show. Go ahead and take it away, Wristy, with the esports update.
So we didn't talk about GamesCom. Well, we talked about GamesCom last week, but we didn't manage to get the results out last week. So for first place, we got Cognitive EU. Second place was SK Gaming. And with a slight little upset as well, the wildcard team, Vengeance Esports, has come in there and got beat Bipolar Method to third place, which was quite nice.
What are your overall impressions of Gamescom? Just a quick little overview of it. Anything that surprised you? Anything that stood out a lot to you with Gamescom versus previous tournaments, or even the competitive play?
The stage looks so much better than PAX.
Yes.
Yeah, compared to PAX,
production value. Production value is definitely one.
Yeah, it kicked the crap out of PAX. The problem, I think, with the Gamescom that I've noticed with PAX is they had to cram it all into one day by the looks of it. I'm not sure if that's what they had to do or they just chose to do, but PAX has been 4 days long. That is a lot of matches.
Yeah.
Everybody in Gamescom had 1 day to actually... one day to play and get everything done, so it was a big rush.
I mean, it's nice. The recent PAX that we just saw that just finished up, guys. It was kind of cool they stretched it out over 4 days, but it wasn't necessary. Like, I would rather have seen a 2-day, all out type of setup tournament compared to 4 days. Granted, as Wristy said there, the quality of the production value was a lot better over 4 days. But to me, I'd rather spend a day sitting down watching Smite compared to be like, okay, I need to make sure I'm available for this 2-hour period today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, because that's the way the streaming schedule is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd like to have seen like Gamescom do the best of 3 round robins. That's pretty much where I was going with that one.
Okay.
The round robin was best of 1, but you don't really get a gist of the teams with round of 1. It's like, they won this game, but something dodgy could have... Not something dodgy could have happened. Something weird could have happened that would never happen.
And there's no story that builds
game.
behind the best of 1, whereas you have a best of 3, you have a story built between the teams that are playing. So that's a good thought with Gamescom as well. Keep in mind, guys, that Hi-Rez Studios did partner with ESL for the GamesCom, so that's why the production quality was so high, because that's what ESL does. They do the production setup for and partner with some of these companies, so that's why it was so great. And that's why we actually saw Hi-Rez. On last week's show, guys, we were talking, and one of my questions actually to Hi-Rez Gavin was, we saw you guys partner with ESL at Gamescom. Are we going to see you partner with someone at PAX, or are we going to have a repeat of the last PAX? And Gavin jumped on it right away and was like, we will be partnering with somebody. He can't say who. So I was happy to see that it was actually Twitch, which I thought was probably the best people they could have partnered with from a standpoint of the stream.
Well, they were partnered with Twitch last year, weren't they? Well, not last year, but for the 10,000 tournament. They were partnered with Twitch.
It was completely different. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah.
The way they went about it. But so that was Gamescom. Let's go ahead and jump into the additional results.
PAX, we've got, too late, Octane's already spoiled the crap out of this one through the thing, so if anybody didn't want spoilers, sorry. So Dignitas won first place, Denial wins second, Cognitive take third place, and Reason Gaming take fourth.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for Reason Gaming, but I will tell you, at our last show, I did say, and I've been saying it, we talked about who we expect to see, Dignitas versus Denial. I thought we would definitely see them in the finals, and we did. I don't know, Reason Gaming I feel like got stomped. You didn't, unfortunately, have an opportunity to watch a lot of PAX, you had told me, just with everything going on with in real life for you. But, yeah, I mean, they did not do very well at a live event. I don't know if this has been in a repeat of the past, but they did not do very well. Did they win any games at all in the series? I'm gonna have to look.
I have no idea.
Somebody in chat might know off the top of their head. I just know when I look at the one point that I looked at, I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, it was rough. It was rough, but congratulations, Denial.
Dignitas just kind of steamrolled everybody.
Yeah,
really, didn't they? They're just such a dominant force. They're just so aggressive. That's pretty much what happens.
I feel like the best games were actually the semifinals of Cognitive versus Denial. I feel like those were better than even the grand finals.
I'll have to check them out. I've got, that's the problem though. Where I'm doing like the competitive show, I now have 4 days of PAX to watch and do everything else, and it's like, well, I've got to sit there and watch it all, and then that's why PAX won't be out till next week. I'll do something else this week. In the future, I'd rather see them invite more teams to the event and do a double elimination because that builds stories behind the teams and rivals, and hey, we beat them in the upper bracket, but now we got moved to the lower bracket and we fought our way back, and now we're in the grand finals. I like double elimination brackets. I'm not a huge fan of pool play, not a huge fan of the round robin. I can understand why it was used in a 4-team environment. I can understand that, but I'd love to see some more teams, double elimination brackets put together in the future for larger LAN tournaments. Well, also with that, the round robin I could understand at Gamescom because they had to do it quickly. They only had best of ones, they had to get through it, and it's kind of like. But what you're saying, they get more teams, but because of the fact they were doing best of 3s, they could have done a lower bracket. Yeah, that's true. So they could have taken more teams there, another 4 at least, possibly. They could have even taken the whole EU bracket up there. Not EU bracket, the NA bracket up there for crying out loud, and do it that way. But I suppose half the teams wouldn't have been able to go. But nonetheless, NA results, Vicious Delicious take first place. Last Resort get second. And Team Let's Go, which is a new team, took third place, actually, bronze, which is nice to see. I always like to see new teams come in, especially when all the EU team was at Gamescom. The imaginary team come in there. And
dude, I feel like Vicious and Delicious has crept into the scene out of nowhere, and they're so good. They're such a good team for such a young team. So it's pretty cool that we're actually seeing that. Because you and I first saw Vicious and Delicious in the 3v3 Clash of the Gods that we cast every week on Wednesday nights. And now to see their 5v5 team, it was actually really cool to see them play up against Last Resort because they did so well against Last Resort. I had the opportunity to watch that earlier this week on Saturday. So pretty cool. A lot going on in the NA scene when the top NA teams are not around.
Oh, sorry. I was just trying to open up the esports website to check out what the team roster was for Imaginary Team.
Yeah.
And I just got a hell load of
Smitten, who's currently on there right now.
Yeah, but I just got a whole lot of Taylor Swift in my head.
Oh, nice. Have fun with that one.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you over it. I was like, oh god.
Enjoy the female streamer. Come on now, Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Well, he couldn't even switch it off. There was nowhere to pause it. So.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into our EU results.
So we got the Cognitive Gaming EU takes first place, Bipolar Method takes second, and Imaginary Team take third place. Now I think Imaginary Team is the old Exposed Secrets roster, which I said on the Smite Competitive this week that Copenhagen Wolves come in.
Yeah.
I got trolled by Reddit, so I'd have to be a bit more
I did
kind
see
of
that
cautious
post.
with that.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was
pretty good.
Crap.
So yeah, that was cool. You and I had the opportunity to cast that yesterday, the EU tournament, and as I said before, the competitive play and the entertainment level that the EU scene brings versus the NA scene. I mean, you know, I live in the NA, and one would be like, oh, you need to represent, but no, EU definitely outplays the NA when it comes to an entertainment perspective. It was a lot more fun casting and watching the EU games than it has been a lot of the NA games in the past. So,
but it's quite a variety in meta.
It is a lot of variety in meta and a lot of teams though. There's so many more teams in the EU than the NA. So, it was kind of a pleasure to do it.
You got the bigger country.
That's right. That's right. All right, jumping in, guys. Our next section of the show is called This Week in Smite, where we go over what to expect this week coming up here. So let's go ahead and jump to full screen, and you will see today, September 1st, that we just finished up here was yesterday. We had the EU tournament and the Denial of Casual NA. Today, tomorrow, nothing going on. Wednesday, there is actually a 3 vs 3 Clash of the Gods going on. So if you and your team is ready to win yourself several thousand gems, that will still be going on. It looks like it just hasn't been added to the schedule. Only reason I say that is because myself and Wristy will be casting that. That is the 3 vs 3 Clash of the Gods by Smitetube. So check out Smitetube.com, guys, if you guys want to sign up for that. On Thursday, the French Weekly. Have you heard about? I mean, have you watched this or heard about this?
I haven't watched it. No, I've heard about it a little bit. I should kind of have a little gander at it at some point. I don't even know if it's a 5v5. I think it is.
Okay.
But I'm not sure what their. I think we looked before on what their requirements were for for the signing up.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find anything. That was kind of my about it. But
that's right.
We'll definitely have to check it out.
Okay, and then jumping into Saturday, we have the Code Green, which is kind of your random, you go ahead and join in independently, solo, and you get randomly put with people, and you get put in 5 vs 5. Very casual environment, very cool. The Denial Casual EU, and the official NA Weekly on Saturday. So that's what's going on this week in Smite. Let's go ahead and jump into our next section, guys, which is the weekly community Smite content. And I wanted to show you guys a few things and definitely to point out with you. So this past week we saw the Damnation, which they are I want to say they're an EU team. Yes, they're an EU team. They didn't have an opportunity to cast them this past week, but they were in the tournament, and the Damnation actually got picked up by a competitive organization called Epiphany Interactive. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that up on screen right now, guys. The Reddit post is right here. I'll go ahead and put it in chat if you're interested in reading more about it. And here is their Epiphany Esports website. Kind of cool to see. It looks like that they're into several different actual scenes here. Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Dota 2, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2. So a little bit of everything. So Epiphany Gaming, really happy to see another team getting picked up.
I'm surprised to see a team getting picked up that's unknown.
Sure. Well, the thing is with Epiphany Gaming, I don't know how big they are. Okay, yes, they're into all these other games, but I'm not seeing any sponsors on their site. So I don't know how big they are. How much money they have coming in. Are they privately funded? Are they funded by larger sponsors or company backing?
No sponsors, no.
So I'm not really sure. So they could just be another name coming into the scene. They might not be anything. It might just be another name. We'll have to see. We'll have to follow along with it and see how it develops. Moving on from there, we had, which I was not aware of this, there's a subreddit called Smitegodconcepts. And there was actually, the winner was announced for the August contest, and I've never seen this before.
No,
so let's go ahead and show this to you here. Pretty much, it's like its own little breeding pool for God ideas for Smite. And
we found our new developers.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So if you go ahead and look over there, you could go ahead and see that the winner for this week was Byam the Huntsman. And this was an entry that somebody had entered over at Smitegodconcepts, which is really cool. And they break down the God like amazingly, like the lore, the what they fall under, their role, the hit progression, the pros and the cons, their abilities, the mana use, the cooldown, everything. So pretty much they do all the work for Hi-Rez, and it's this giant pool. Like if I go right into it here, this is Smitegodconcepts. It's a sub Reddit, and you can see that there's like a ton of people posting over here, and I never realized this. So make sure that you guys go check that out. That would be super cool to see. Once again, that's Smitegodconcepts, and that's a subreddit. And let me go ahead and link that in chat for you guys, so you guys can check it out. Followed up from there, this is a website I stumbled upon, and it took me some time to find it again. Smitecamp.com is a new website that just came up and running. And what it is so you come over to this site, and you select a god. So let's go ahead and pick up someone like Tyr. So you pick Tyr. Then you go ahead and it gives you the whole diagnosis of Tyr, some information about Tyr, along with his pros and cons. So you see right here, Tyr, pros, high, defense, medium, crowd control. Cons, hot. Okay, that doesn't really make sense there. But tags, physical, melee. Underneath of there, you have the ability to put who he's strongest against and who he's weakest against. So let me select somebody that's like a little bit older here. Like, let's go with... there was Honor. He has one. Let's go with Agni. Perfect. Agni. Okay. So under Agni, you can see he's strongest against Hebo. And it says here, Agni can poke Hebo down from a distance, so Hebo can't cast his first ability. Now, who is Agni weakest against? Well, right here. You have with Loki. No steroid and speed buff means Loki can pop in and quickly kill Agni. So it's a quick site. Very simple and easy. Nothing too extravagant. But anyways, guys, it's smitecamp.com. I wanted to show that to you because it's a kind of cool website. I think it's great for new players that want to go, okay, here's the god. Who are they good against? Who are they, not so great against? And it actually reminds me of StarCraft 2, where in StarCraft 2, you could go in and select a unit, and it would tell you who they're strongest against and who they're weakest against. So when you went to go ahead and counter somebody, you knew, okay, in StarCraft 2, who do I need to build to counter Wristy, per se? Going Roaches. Okay, I need to go with Marauders because they are strongest against them. I shouldn't go Marines because they're weakest. So this is the same concept. Check it out, smitecamp.com. Really cool, kind of small project done by a community member. Let's go ahead, guys, and jump into the next section of the show, which is the website of the week.
The website of the week we've got is actually the smitecommunity.com. Well, smitecommunity.com, which is just a community website for everyone to kind of get together. They've got a forums as well, which I know everybody needs a forums now that Hi-Rez's ones are down and it's not Reddit, so it doesn't actually get downvoted as soon as you put it up. So at least people have actually got to see it.
Yep.
Just keeps people up to date on news and stuff that's going on as well. So it's good to see another community sites coming up. More community sites, all the better. Really.
Exactly.
We do get also Streamer of the Week. We've got SunTouch this week.
Correct. And SunTouch is a streamer that I've seen on several times. He's actually streaming Daisy tonight. But he is a person that I see streaming an awful lot. And so I think he definitely deserves the attention. He not only, as you can see here, is casting or does DayZ, but also Minecraft, Binding of Isaac, and he actually has in here, he's a competitive player of Smite. So I'm not sure who he plays for in the competitive scene, but do you know?
I did know. I can't remember. I think it's like Denial. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, he wasn't. He's currently streaming right now, so we know he's not playing for at least Denial NA. This is his site, so check it out. Twitch.tv/SunTouch. Pretty cool guy. I've caught him quite a few times. He does have a green screen, so that makes him even cooler. Okay, he plays for SK. Excellent. Thank you, Rabby Turtle, in chat. So check him out. Twitch.tv/SunTouch. Pretty cool guy. Nice to see that he is. I want to give him the attention that he deserves. I think the competitive players need to have more attention, within the Twitch community from a stream perspective. So,
pretty cool. His green screen works. Mine doesn't.
That's right. That's right. You better touch base. You better touch base with him. You can kind of trade notes. See,
new lights.
Go from there. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and take 3 questions from chat before we go ahead and do our giveaway. So if you guys are interested, please go ahead and post 3 random questions. Could be anything, Smite or non-Smite related. And in the meantime, Wristy, where can people find you when you're not on the Smite update?
You can find me at youtube.com/WristyUK, twitch.tv/WristyUK, and Twitter @WristyUK. Very simple, very easy to do.
Excellent. And guys, you can also check me out. If you're not watching this live on Twitch, you may be finding it on the VOD location. You can check it out, youtube.com/OctanePro, SCII. And all of the Smite updates and some of our other little shows here and there are actually over at youtube.com/TheSmiteUpdate. So once again, youtube.com/TheSmiteUpdate. You can find all 22 episodes over there. So please go ahead and check out the show. That would be awesome. You guys can also check out me, OctaneProGaming.com. That's actually my community website. Looking to build my brand up a little bit more. So once again, OctaneProGaming.com. And let's go ahead and jump into some questions. Wristy, go ahead and grab one.
Someone asked, why does the NA meta differ so much from the EU? Okay. I quickly put up because we use our brains instead of our brains.
Oh, look at you. Look at
you.
I
had to do it. I had to do it.
I would like to comment into that and say that I feel as though the EU scene has developed faster due to a lot of the organizational support over there. Look, over a year ago, we saw a Smite LAN tournament that did occur. We didn't have anything like that in the NA with the support of ESL. So I feel as though the EU scene has developed faster. The NA scene is catching up, but we don't have as many teams out there as the EU scene does from an NA perspective. And so I feel like you guys, as the EU, is definitely more you're farther along in the scene, esports scene development. So that would be my proper answer. Thank you very much.
Well, it's kind of just it's just a take on how people kind of learn stuff. Like the NA's been kind of separated for a while, so they've learned basically like a language. They've learned a different language to us. With same things, you can still do the same thing with it, but just in a different way.
Yeah.
The NA have been very comfortable in just their current meta, just doing the things they do every week consistently, very good. That makes them actually come out. But then we do see them like the Jungle Athena we've been seeing coming out there. They do try new things there, but their constant aggression, especially from like Team Dignitas, constant aggression, and it pretty much what everybody else is doing for the NA is following suit. You rarely see anyone else come up with new ideas over there. Fair enough, Dignitas comes up with a few things, but no one else really does.
Yeah, it'll be great one day when we actually do have the opportunity to see everyone come together in a giant LAN event and see the different metas and region play start to clash finally. I think that'll be pretty cool. Let's go ahead and jump on to another question. Take it away, Wristy.
Who do you think's the best competitive mid player and why? It's got to be the best.
I would actually say you might say the best. I would actually say Stealth. Stealth is probably one of the better players. I mean, today he just dominated as Agni. He went like 11-1 in middle lane and just like dominated. So after today, Stealth, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see. You see the best and Stealth go up against each other all the time, and it's always nice to see because they really go for it.
Oh yeah,
they do go for it. They do. Yeah, the best works really well. Pretty much wherever he goes, he always gets all the last hits off. It's just very mechanically sound of all the gods. So I like the way he plays, and he just, he's going to do very well. There's very few times that you see him lose a lane unless he gets completely ganked out. But
sure.
See how that
Completely
goes.
Understandable. Let's go ahead and take one more question before we go ahead and do the giveaway.
Ay. See if you can spot one.
Sure. No, take your time.
Yeah.
Anything?
Well, I got one asking about power creep.
Sure.
Do you feel that Hi-Rez keeps power creeping their new gods each week, making them stronger and stronger? Yes, they do. They keep adding more clever things, but at least we see with John Corin where he's actually got a bit of a weakness. He doesn't have his leaps and gap closers, which is nice. Now, like I've said before, that we've gone from the point where everybody was getting a leap, to where some gods were getting 2 gap closers, and it was like, really, do they need to have 2? So it's just stuff like that. It's going to get to the point where some of the skills are going to get too overloaded, but we're not quite there yet. So
yeah. No, I do agree with you there. Good point. All right, guys. Well, before we go ahead and do the giveaway, I want to go ahead and let you guys know about 2 of the stream sponsors we do have. First one, which is actually actually handling the giveaway today, is actually tweakedaudio.com. So if you guys don't win the set of earbuds that we are going to be giving away, please make sure you go check them out. Wristy and I are both using them. Tweakedaudio.com. They have 7 different styles, 6 different colors. They sell high quality ear-reducing earbuds. High quality sound reducing earbuds. And the cool thing is they not only do the sound reducing, but they also have the non-tangle cord, which is really, really nice because it's always a headache when you deal with that. And a lot of people use them for not only things like at the gym, at work, but they also use them for gaming. I use them every day for gaming. I use them for 8 hours of casting, 8 hours of gameplay. They don't bother my ears. They have several different sizes for them as well. So make sure you check it out, tweakedaudio.com. And if you use the promo code OctanePro, one word, you'll get 33% off and free shipping anywhere in the world. So you could take a $29, $30 set of earbuds, break it down to right around $16, and then you get free shipping anywhere in the world. On top of that, you get a lifetime warranty. So if your dog eats them, you step on one of the buds, they break, just send them back and they'll send you a brand new pair for free. So make sure you check it out, tweakedaudio.com. On top of that, also want to go ahead and point out the second stream sponsor is SmiteTube.com, which you might have heard about them at the top of the show. They are a new website which hosts weekly tournaments, 3vs3 tournaments, which we talked about with the gems. They also have some great articles and news articles over there too for Smite. And finally, they have some really cool VODs. I have several VODs over there for new players, tutorial videos. So make sure you check that out, SmiteTube.com. Let's go ahead and give away the set of Tweaked Audio earbuds. Guys, the promo code in chat is Tweaked Audio. One word. Just go ahead and put it in there. Tweaked Audio is the promo code. Once again, this is a free set of earbuds that will be sent anywhere in the world, and you guys can go ahead and win them by just typing in. Oh, I'm sorry, I typed it wrong, guys. It's the D, but everyone's typing in tweak. So let me change it. One sec here, guys. I spelt it. Oh no, it's tweaked. Okay, I got it right, guys. It's tweaked with a D. So TWEAKED audio. So here, let me repost it. Repost what I'm doing. Tweaked, TWEAKED, and then audio. So everybody that posted, please go ahead and post it. Tweaked audio, as I'm pronouncing it properly. I typed it incorrectly, pronounced it properly. Make sure you check it out. Yeah, we'll give it a minute here before we go ahead and do the giveaway. And then myself and Wristy will go ahead and head out tonight. Guys, we will be back next week, Monday night at 8:30 to go over the next patch. I assume we're going to see a patch here in the next few days. We haven't really been told there hasn't been one. But we'll have to see. I assume it's going to be a balance patch, would be my recommendation, along with a bug fix to fix a lot. They did actually do a maintenance last night. I was streaming on Smite Game, and message came up, was like, scheduled maintenance, 1 a.m. And I was like, really? I was like, what is the maintenance for? Nobody knew what they were doing, but there was some type of maintenance that was going on. All right, guys, let's go ahead and give away this wonderful set of earbuds. Once again, Tweaked Audio is the keyword. Let's go ahead and get this roll going on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rolling the dice. Congratulations to Uncle Chicken Ham. Uncle Chicken Ham, you have 1 minute to post in chat. If you do post within 1 minute, you will go ahead and win your set of Tweaked Audio earbuds. Any set of earbuds on the site are yours for free, sir. But once again, you have 1 minute to post in chat. We're down to about 40 seconds right now. So Uncle Chicken Ham, hopefully you are still there. You have not posted yet. We're up to about the 30-second mark. Hopefully we hear from you soon, because that would be a shame if we have to go ahead and re-roll because he wasn't available. Oh, there he is. All right, good deal. Uncle Chicken Ham, please go ahead and send me a private message with the set of earbuds that you would like on their website, tweakedaudio.com, along with your full mailing address. I don't need your name, just full mailing address. And I will go ahead and send you your free set of Tweaked Audio earbuds brought to you by tweakedaudio.com. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining myself and Wristy. We will see you guys next week on Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for the next episode of the Smite Update. See you guys then.